What if this is a chapter where everything works out? Hear me out. If you're new to my channel, my name is Aisata Kaba. On this channel, I tap into the current energies with hopes that my message resonates with at least one person watching. Right now, so many of us are in a transitionary period. I like to call this period the space in between chapters. It's that weird limbo where you've outgrown your old ways, but your new life, it hasn't fully landed yet. It hasn't quite dropped. And you're definitely not who you used to be, but you're not quite yet who you're becoming either. And I would like to take a moment to empathize with anyone who is currently experiencing this period because it can be one of the most mentally exhausting things. It can last your whole life if you know and if you've known where you want to go, but you can't muster up the courage to be that. Or you see everybody so motivated and doing the right things. It might look like just content binging, all of this self-help and positivity content. But when it comes to actually applying it, it doesn't quite work out that way. And we'll talk about just why that is in this video later on. We'll even talk about what to do with this message if you happen to resonate with it. So we'll get into all of that if you bear with me and stick with me through this journey. If you're in that period, shouts out to you. You're not delusional. You're not crazy. It's not that you can't get there. It's the fact that life doesn't come with a manual. And for some reason, I don't know, this shit is just built to be difficult. Change is just about one of the things that we can dang near count on, though our brain, our anatomy, everything about us is physically wired to reject that. You could be doing something that is beneficial to you, your happiness, and be met by restriction from that. Or your brain is literally subconsciously trying to come up with all these ways to stop you. It's really be you against you out here. You your biggest op. Pain and lows is just a part of this human experience we must accept. So we cannot assume that just because we're in pain or it's uncomfortable, that it is a sign or it equates to us moving in the wrong direction. If anything, we can infer that it means just the opposite. When life stops feeling familiar, your nervous system is freaking out. Trigger warning, trigger warning. It's making you feel like everything is wrong. Like I said, your brain is subconsciously starting to figure out how to get you to stop what you're doing. So as a result, we cling to our old selves, even if it hurts us so deeply, because we convince ourselves that the pain that we know is so much easier than a future that we haven't yet seen. A lot of the time it's external. It could be a job change. It could be a breakup. It could be the death of a parent or a death of a loved one, which is extremely valid. Like those suck like hell because you can't quite control things outside of us. So it oftentimes during times like this, it can feel like, why me? Why is this happening? Just right when I felt like I was happy, this got snatched away from me. It's like taking one step forward or two steps back, or we just cling on to an idea or habit or person or place or thing, and we see that as security or we see it as our livelihood or it's embedded in our identity. So losing it can just shake our world. Those are the external transformations. The internal transformations can feel like a version of you that is being stripped away piece by piece. That's where that cognitive dissonance that I was talking about before goes in hand, where you realize that version of yourself that your environment might have caused is not the real you or not embedded in your true desires, but it takes more than just knowing that that's not what you want to do to change that. So that's that internal strife, that's that internal conflict. They both have their damage. They both can come in and wreck your world. Something deeper, something more aligned might be coming up in place with both of them, external or internal. I know that we like to romanticize alignment, and it seems like this beautiful word and this thing that we strive for, like a cutesy little aha moment of synchronicity and serendipity. But sometimes alignment feels excruciating, like emotional surgery. It's raw, it's uncomfortable, it's lonely. Even if you're not alone, it feels like you're alone because it's a very personal experience. What is often looked over is growth not always feeling like progress, and how much growth can feel like loss or death because it is death. It is often the mourning of a job or a relationship or a version of yourself or a loved one. Like if you think about a plant, each stage that goes through from seed to root, when it's going down into the roots and those roots are spreading through the dirt, that probably doesn't feel really comfortable. Like it's probably easier to just be a seed chilling up in that motherfucker. Just chilling up in there, nice and snug, like being in your mama's womb. But like being a root is a very different experience than being a seed. So yes, growth can feel like loss. It can feel like loss of control, loss of identity, or even loss of a story you thought would have brought you fulfillment by now. How many times in this human experience, because we are social beings, do we adopt someone else's dream or someone else's vision and we don't even realize it until we're at the finish line and we're like, wait, this isn't mine. I don't even want this. And going through years of blood, sweat, tears, and hard work to get to the finish line and realize this is not it. Talk about depression, talk about burnout, talk about feeling like a failure. But it's all part of the process. This life is about the journey, no? And even in those moments that feel like our darkest hour, what if it's not a breakdown? What if that is part of your breakthrough? What if this is a chapter where things finally get good? Listen, I've been through enough transitions to know that they don't really get easy. Even when it's in your nature, even if it's all you've known, it just doesn't really get easier. Yeah, you might know a little bit more as time goes on, and your spirit might get louder. Your nervous system tries. I'm not gonna lie, healing your nervous system, that's about one of the hardest parts to rewire. But your faith, that's one thing that gets stronger. Your trust in something bigger than you gets stronger because you realize you don't really have as much control as it seems like. There's a lot of external play going on. Maybe you're starting to notice that every time it felt like the world was ending, there was a new beginning. And every time you thought that you were falling, God actually softened that landing, that there's some type of give and take. For some reason, we have to let go of our current experience, of our current life, in order to let in better things. And it's not always a swift exchange. Sometimes it can be replaced right away. We're taught that we should have a backup plan or always have it together. But it doesn't matter how much you level up. That is one, it's just a way of life. These in between seasons is about more than patience, which if you do have the virtue of patience, I'm jelly. I wish I was patient. I'm so impatient and impulsive. It's something that I'm currently working on. Anyway, it's more than patience though. It's gonna demand grounding, and it's gonna demand courage, and it's gonna demand trust above all. Not just trust in the almighty most high, but trust in yourself. I know that part can be even harder for me. God come through every time, but sometimes I'm like, am I like, can I do this? Yes, trusting in yourself, in God, in the fact that even if your path doesn't look exactly like what you pictured or envisioned or wanted, you are still being led somewhere beautiful. You are still being led exactly where you belong. Okay, let's be real. I'm not here to feed you a whole bunch of hocus pocus. That sounds fine and dandy in theory, but in practice, this can feel like spiritual warfare. Truly believing and moving in the knowing that no matter what is happening, you are being led for your highest good and things are happening for you, not against you, can take many lifetimes to learn, to truly believe that. Even knowing that or wanting to know that is not the same as being wired that way. What if this is right before the chapter where everything goes right? Like, let's just think about that possibility. Right before everything works out, it can feel like you're being attacked. Like I said, it feels like a spiritual attack. You're being attacked from every angle, every direction. Your mind gets loud. You question everything. You overthink. You isolate. You self-sabotage. You spiral. About to crash the heck out. About to crash out. Or you shut down and you don't feel anything and you neglect yourself, or you're just numb, working on autopilot because you don't really want to address or face the reality. But weirdly enough, that's how I have felt every time I was on the brink of something big, amazing, life changing, like uplifting. I have never felt amazing or good or like I'm walking on cloud 9 just before my life improved. Like, never. When life is going well, sometimes it's even scarier to accept than what was before. It's because the fear of success is often more paralyzing than the fear of failure. Because when you're in survival mode, peace can feel like a threat. When trauma and pain is all that you've known, things being calm, highly suspicious. You're like, that's suspicious. What is going on? Why is it peace? Like you just don't know how to trust that things are feeling good. You start to look around for red flags, and if you don't see any red flags, you start to create them. This is why people date the same toxic people over and over and over again, or are in the same toxic job situations over and over and over again. But here's what I've learned. You cannot tiptoe into your blessings. One part is asking, but you have to be willing to receive, ready to receive. You cannot halfway receive what you ask for. You have to go in balls deep, as I've been saying lately. Why is that like the 5th time I've said that this week? You just have to go in full throttle. You've got to show up with your whole heart, fears and all. The fears are really highlighting what you truly want, what you truly love, what you truly desire. So what if this is a chapter where things finally work out, or at least you are taking a huge step closer to that? So okay. We got it. You're here. And if you're still here, I'm assuming that this message resonates with you. But what do we do with this now? Like, if you are in the same boat as me, if you've ever been in the same boat as me, what now? How do you hold yourself through this? How do you stay grounded when everything feels like it is crashing down? When it's all falling apart? What's been working for me recently in the past? And these are gentle reminders to myself as well. Because when you have all this noise in your head, it can be really, really hard to have clarity, or you can overcomplicate things that could be a little simpler. So let's get into actual practices. I was recently very much feeling like this, so overwhelmed that I didn't even have the mental capacity to do simple things that I usually would enjoy and love doing. And so what I did was I went through a full moon reset. I'm typically tapped into the emotions of the full moon without even realizing it. I can feel a type of way, and then I look at the calendar and wow, look, who would have guessed it's a full moon going on? But particularly this one, just a few days before my birthday, the Sagittarius full moon had me bent emotionally, spiritually, physically. I was feeling it. I was overwhelmed. I felt like I was free falling. I just felt like I was falling out the sky with nowhere to land. It literally felt like catastrophic. Even though it wasn't, it felt like it. And even though I knew God had me, like in my head and through my experiences, emotionally, that was not enough. And we have to give that credit. Like, emotionally, having faith in God is not always enough. Okay. Again, that nervous system is something serious to correct. This is what I did in the release. I wrote down everything that I was holding on to, big or small, recent or old, and I read each one as many times as I needed to. I released this, I released that. I cried through each one as many times as I needed to. And when I felt like it was done, I burned the paper and I watched it burn. Something about watching fire do its thing. I don't know. And I watched it burn. And I did this under the moonlight on my patio. I set up an ambience with candles and mood lighting. So set up a scene, play your music that you find healing and grounding. Romanticize this. Yes, you're probably going to shed tears. Yes, it won't be easy, but like make it smooth. So once you've let it all out, what you want to do is shift into gratitude. I believe gratitude is the gateway to happiness. Gratitude is the foundation of it all. It's so important. So speak on what you're thankful for, even if it's small. Gratitude has a way of bringing you back into the now. Gratitude is the gatekeeper to happiness. Typically, full moons are not for manifestation. It's usually embedded in releasing. And let me clarify, this is the full moon energy going on right now, but you don't have to do this on a full moon. It just amplifies your intentions. Yes, it does amplify your intentions, but it's not necessary. Do things as you need them, when you need them. It's better done than for it to be perfect. If you feel drawn to do it right now and the next full moon is not till 2 weeks from now, do what you gotta do, honey boo boo. You make the rules around here. So, I mean, if it lines up, perfect. If not, do what you gotta do. Again, typically full moons are built for release, but this particular full moon in Sagittarius, also with my birthday coming up, I always see that as a point of manifestation. I also wanted to do a little bit of attraction, like a little bit of attraction thing, and something that I actually got from my mom is speaking your wishes into water. And water is energy, it amplifies your energy. And it's symbolic. It's one of our greatest elements, and it makes up the majority of our body. So to me, it makes sense why this works. What I did is I got a glass of water, sat it on my patio with my little ambiance, and I started to write out the things that I wanted to call in and attract and to be. Whether I had it or not quite yet. And while I'm doing this, I'm meditating, I'm calming myself. I'm already feeling so much better from all the things that I've let go. And I'm visualizing. Now, I'm not the best at intentionally visualizing things. I'm very visual, like images come to my head. But when it comes to like forcing a picture in my head, I struggle a little bit more. A good practice to exercise this skill is doing little clips, like little 3-second moments, visualizing you and your desired reality. So what I did is I spoke that into the water. Repeated my desires, and I left the piece of paper under the cup of water overnight on the moonlight. And what I did first thing in the morning is drink that cup of water. So you can do different variations of this. You can just pray on your water and drink it as a daily ritual. I'm also pretty big on egg cleanses, and I think I should make this part of my spiritual hygiene routine more than I do, because every time I do one of these egg cleanses, it might not be instant, but it's always followed by a shift. And you can do this with one egg, two egg, three egg. Typically, what an egg cleanse is, I'm going to briefly describe if you don't know what it is. The egg is basically the idea that the egg is sucking in all of your negativity, all of the energy that you don't want. So it's usually used to remove negativity, you rub it from head to toe. Maybe do a little bit more research on it before you do it if this is your first time seeing it in this video. What I did at this specific time is I had 3 different eggs for 3 different purposes. Now, it could be the negativity, the entourage around you, your career and finances, your love life, whatever it is that you want to be intentional about. Other things you can do is a spiritual bath. Baths are amazing either way. It's a way to make your body feel safe, and it's a good way to release, get those endorphins. It's a great way to regulate. If you have a bathtub, it's awesome to take a bath on a weekly basis, but spiritual baths just take the intensity up just a notch. What makes it spiritual is the intention that you pour in it. The intentions that you pour in it, along with the ingredients. You don't have to go out and get anything special. You can work with ingredients that you have in your home, like honey, lemon. I love the little Aztec clay or the Indian clay. Those are amazing even in a regular bath. Epsom salt is a must. Bubble bath, whatever you need. Flowers by the side, candles by the side. Um, Oils, essential oils with certain properties. Your word, your intention. While you're drawing that bath, you're cooking up a little stew for yourself and you're pouring in your desires and intentions into it. And that's where the magic happens. Also, if you're doing one, don't forget to submerge your head. As many times as you feel called through. Two, I usually do it 3 times, but you want to get in the bath from head to toe. Don't neglect your head. Get your head down under. So make sure that you don't have your hair pressed or something when you're doing this. Take some deep breaths or do some breath work while you're in the bath. All of this can sound like a lot. You can do it all at once if you feel called to. I love a deep cleanse, a deep reset, because I feel like you can feel a palpable shift. But if it's too much or too overwhelming, maybe just try it once at a time. If you feel called to do all of it together, more power to you. And these are big practices, but there's things that you can do, small steps that you can do daily, and that makes little shifts over a few days or a week as well. So let's quickly get into those before I leave you guys off with this video. Breath is our tool, our reminder that we are human, that we are here. One of our biggest blessings that we take for granted. Get into your breath. Take a deep breath. Move. Get some movement in. Shake it off. Dance. Stretch. Literally shake. Like, who cares how silly you look? Who's even watching you? Your body holds on to stagnant energy. This is scientifically proven. Moving every day is necessary. It's a non-negotiable. Not a coincidence that when you feel down, you have no motivation to move, but you're never going to regret getting your body up and moving, even in a way that is feasible for you when you don't have much to give. You're never going to regret it. Say your affirmations, whether you find a video that resonates with you on YouTube, there's rampages, there's morning affirmations, there's all shapes and sizes. Find one that sticks with you, that feels good, that resonates, because they don't all, and listen to it every day, every night when you're stressed out. Have a mantra that you go to that is specifically tailored for you, that you say or repeat to a point where it's subconscious, and you'll see things work out, like everything works out for me, or everything is working out for my best and highest good, or I am love and I am light and I'm alive and I am well. These are foundational reminders. Journal, brain dump, just get out a stream of consciousness. This internal dialogue is a gift. It's great. Get it out of your head and onto a piece of paper. Take the load off. Do this daily or before you go to bed at night. Pray. It doesn't have to be some elaborate thing. You're just talking to God. You could talk to him like a friend. You can vent to him. You can give him all your woes. You can give him gratitude. Gratitude is the foundation of everything. Usually, I don't like to start my prayers unless I am giving gratitude. But most importantly, most of all, it is the process of surrendering, because we can try to have control and we can try to see how everything is going to pan out. I often try to predict when I'm going through these transformative periods exactly how everything is going to land. And that's why I personally change my mind a lot while I'm going through this. I might think I want this, think I want that, but that is okay to change your mind in these periods, because you're learning and meeting a version of yourself that you have not met yet. That's okay. Screw what everybody thinks. Screw what you might have shared or might not have shared. That's why a lot of times people don't like sharing things when they're going through these types of changes. Surrender to the unknown and surrender to your timing, to God's timing. Surrender to your evolution. And this is a part that does get easier the more that you go through it. Surrendering to your evolution, because you have that built-in faith that, hey, God's got me. He's always got me. And God tends to make things work out in a way where it's undeniable. You can't even take credit for it. You know that, dang, this was God, because I couldn't even have imagined it coming together so beautifully. So let go and release that need for control. At the end of the day, it is you versus you. It is you versus the fear of being seen, or the fear of success, or the fear of growth. It is you versus the voice that's saying, no, not yet. No, it's not safe. They're all going to laugh at you. It's you versus your trauma. You versus your biggest op. You versus the urge to destroy everything that is good, or reject what is good, or reject that change. If any of this makes sense to you, you are winning. You are right there. You're not soft. You're not losing. You're not confused. You don't not belong here. Again, what if it's all just signs that we're finally in that chapter where things are working out? What if that's just what things working out feels like? It reminds me of a Black Mirror episode that I saw alluding to life being a simulation, but it's the dating app one where they swipe and they swipe and they swipe. And it's like they met each other. I'm trying not to spoil if you haven't seen that episode. They meet each other, but the app tells you just how long you're supposed to be with your partner. And they broke up because the app told them to break up. And they go meet all these people and they're just living as empty vessels because they feel like they've already met what they were supposed to meet. They feel like they already know what's for them, but they're working against it. And like a miracle, the two in the dating app, they meet again, the ones that this whole episode is surrounded by. And the app is saying that they are not meant to be together forever. Even though everything about the society is telling you not to do that, they go against it and they find each other. It's honestly one of the best episodes, but what if that's just how life goes? That everything, the currents are pushing against you the closer that you're getting. Let's entertain that good things don't come easily. There's a reason why these things are idioms. If you are still in this in between, or it feels like the last decade has been this in between, shit, it feels like my whole lifetime has been this in between. Just remember that you're not broken. You're getting more information to get where you need to be with every step. You're getting closer. You're blooming and you're right where you're supposed to be. And I mean it. So until next time, stay you, stay beautiful, stay grounded, stay ever so blessed. And yeah, thank you so much for watching. Bye.